You are looking at the TFDI MD-11 freighter in a Martinair, classic Martinair livery. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. It's CJ, your classic jet sim pilot. And today we're going to be flying and doing some South America ops in the Martinair, the beautiful Martinair MD-11. We're going to be departing out of Quito, Ecuador, and going down to Guayaquil. Quick little flight, should be right around an hour at the most, but it is a real world route, as we're doing as Martinair 50 flight 5715 today. We are logged into VATSIM. We'll see if we get any controllers online, but in the meantime, let's get the old girl fired up. I've already got it on external power, ready to go. I have uploaded our flight plan in. You can see 24,000 feet, about 45 minutes in the air. We'll be cruising at Mach 8.3. Excuse me. We went ahead and set the payload and fuel, and we're gonna have to pay particular attention to performance on this flight because we're dealing with some pretty high altitude airports. If you haven't flown out of Quito before, Quito sits about almost 8,000 feet above sea level, and fortunately the runway is plenty long at almost 13,500 feet, or over 4,000 meters if you prefer that type of measurement. But yeah, so let's prep the airplane, and then we'll take a look at the performance. Already got the power on, and we'll go ahead and start the alignment of the navs. When you turn on the IRUs in the MD-11, it does the self-test of the cargo fire, so we're good there. Do a quick cargo test here. 4 lights up top, 4 lights across the bottom, and then we've got the red lights on the fuel switches. So that test is correct. And then we'll start the alignment process here on the FMC. MD-11, we've got good current database. Going to init, and we'll start the alignment process. All right. Cargo fire test was complete. They're in alignment, or they're in the process of being aligned. Test the CVR. We get a good needle deflection. High, 12 o'clock on the cargo temp. Engine condition is off for the time being. Fuel dump switch covers are in place. Hydraulic pressure test will start. It's kind of fun when you start the hydraulic pressure test in this aircraft. If you bring up the hydraulic systems page, you can actually sit and watch all the valves open and close, and as it tests the system. But if anything fails on the test, it will certainly alert us to that fact. Here on the electrical panel, we are on external power, and that's where we want to be. We'll arm the emergency AC power. That stays in normal. We'll leave the temps across the top. Cabin air and masks are guarded. We are not running any bleed at the moment because we're just on external power. We'll start the APU prior to departure. We are flight plan to have 20 block fuel 26.7. 26.7, so that's 24 and some change. So right, 8,000 pounds across the 3 tanks is 24,000 pounds, and then another 900 pounds across the 3 is another 2,700 pounds. So we're at 26.7. Do the quantity test. 10.5 everywhere, looks good, and should be reflected in the total here. It does. Come across the bottom. We'll turn up the panel lights, arm the emergency lights, test them. They're good. No smoking goes to auto. Seatbelts can stay off for now. Landing lights, taxi lights are off. Nav lights on. Logo lights on. And actually it's daytime. What am I doing? We can leave the logo light off for now. The high intensity lights, meaning the strobes, are off. And the beacon is off for now. LSAS is all set up. No lights. Cabin pressure system's in auto. Anti-ice is off. Windshield anti-ice we'll bring on. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. Annunciator light test. So we're gonna do the fuel use reset first. We'll reset any engine pointers that might have been showing an exceedance of tolerances. Now, we'll test the annunciator lights.
Overspeed.
Go up and down each panel. Make sure there's nothing burned down.
Overspeed.
And then when you leave the button pressed for a while, eventually here on the center display, you'll see air test. There it is, because that starts the pneumatics test also. So good. We are all set there. Coming across the bottom of the panel, the first thing we need to do is make sure all our units are set up. So inches of pressure, we'll go to hectopascals. We are in indicated airspeed as opposed to Mach. We are in heading as opposed to track. We are in feet as opposed to meters. And we are in vertical speed as opposed to flight path angle. I like traffic. I like airport. I like data. And we're all set there. And we are in terrain mode, which is important coming out of Quito. We don't have a flight plan yet, so we'll hold off on the glare shield control panel. Over here, we cannot check the O2 mass, but we would at this point. And then working our way across here, we're in normal static air source. We've got no lights here. We're on our number 1 source. No unusual flags here yet on the primary. On the nav display, same thing. We're still waiting on alignment. And everything else is displaying as it should. Speed brakes are down.
Stabilizer.
Make sure we get all.
Flap. Flap. Stabilizer.
Okay.
Flap.
And then 2 and 3 together. We get the warning. The reason we do that is because there is no config warning on 3. So you're just basically testing to make sure you get the config warning off of 2 and range of motion. So you only get the config warning with throttles 1 and 2, but not 3. Down here, let's see, for Quito. There is no CTAF, so 122.8 it is. 121.5 on the other side, and then we'll also configure the other side to go to 122.8 if we need it. One and 2 are turned up, and the intercom is turned up. We will squawk 2000. We're on standby. Turn on altitude reporting.
TCAS test.
Let it do the TCAS test. We got all the symbols. We got red.
TCAS test passed.
Very good. Trim 0, trim 0. Cockpit door is unlocked. And we'll set the dial flap once we know what that's going to be. All right. We'll go ahead and set up the FMC. Zero into here, MPH 5715. Our cruise altitude today is going to be 20 24,000 feet. The cost index of 22. Our average wind component is a tailwind minus, or is a headwind, -2. We'll hold on that. Flight plan. Out of Quito, we're planning on runway 36. And it is the Mid-X 4 Alpha departure. Mid-X 4 Alpha. Insert. So this is interesting. And I'm not sure what to do about this. It seems that the sim has positioned us at the old Quito, even though I have the new one. So, we're going to improvise. We're still going to take off on runway 36 because it is the new airport layout. We're going to take off out of Quito, and we will proceed. We'll take off north, and then we'll come around here and go direct to the first waypoint, the OM23 waypoint. Oscar Mike 23. Yeah. We'll take off, and then we'll make a right turn. That's what we'll do. We'll take off out of the old Quito, I guess. Right turn to intercept the departure to OM23, which will then take us out between some hills, because the elevation is off to our left. So we will improvise. We'll improvise. Interesting. I've flown into Quito before. I don't recall it doing this before. I'll have to research that. But let's keep going. Our arrival into Guayaquil, we're going to plan on runway 21, and we're going to plan on the ILS X-ray runway 21. And it's going to be off the Star 1 Vulky transition. We will insert that. We'll load it into the second flight plan. Just copy it over. And we'll come over here. Oh, let's get GSX loaded in the airplane.
Boarding requested.
How about that? Okay, we will look at our OFP. The doors are opening. So we're in good shape there. According to our OFP here, we are our taxi fuel is going to be 1,100 pounds. Our route reserve is 0. Our alternate is 10.5. And our final time should be 10.5. Yep. Our block 33.7. Let's look at this again. Our cargo payload. $153.5. It loaded our flight plan funny. So 153. There we go. 33. It didn't import properly. Anyway, all right. 33.7. We got it now. Takeoff gross weight, or zero fuel weight. $410.5. Takeoff weight should be about 443,000 pounds, and it is 443. All right, second init is run, so now we'll do the performance. Okay, SEQM, runway 36. We'll get weather information. We'll get our takeoff weight. We want optimum. Packs are off automatically in this aircraft. We'll calculate it. Let's see if it'll do a flap 15. What's our outside temperature? 16 within 10, so that's a toga takeoff. Well, let's do it. So 141, 152, 159. Slope is 1% with a 3-knot headwind. 1.03. Outside air temperature is 16 C. Got to put the C in there. 41, 54, 59. Close enough for government work. And we will set 15 degrees on the dial flap. Alrighty. See how they're doing outside here. Looks like they're pretty much done loading everything. So let's go ahead and run through the before start checklist. Rudder pedals and seats are adjusted, windows are closed, O2 mask, interphone pressure set and checked, FMS McDo initialized and checked, IRSs are in nav. Hydraulic panel is checked. Fuel quantity panel is set 33.7, 33.6 and change. We're good. Emergency light switch is armed. No smoking sign is in auto. Evac switch is armed. AFS control panel is checked. All right, our flight out of here, we're going right up to 240. And our clean speed is 239, which means we can leave 250 in here. So we will arm Proth. And nav will be heading to start with. So let's do 360. And Prof is armed. And our V2 is armed and ready to go. Alright, so we've got that set. Picking back up, cabin pressure panel has been checked. Window anti-ice defogged on. Defog light is out. Glare tree control panel set and checked. Systems display control panel is set and checked. EIS and bugs set and cross-check. Standby flight instruments are checked. Let's double check the weather here. There we go. Picking back up. Standby fire instruments. Check your handle lights. Down 4 green. Brakes. Pressures parked normal. We're good. Flap slant handles up and retracted. Throttles are closed. Reversal levers are down. Takeoff warning's been checked. Fuel switches are off. Weather radar's off. Transponders standby and set. Aileron rudder trim 00. Shoulder harnesses are on. Flight temp briefing done. Alright, let's get ready to start. Seatbelt sign goes on. Status page. We'll check. Nothing that isn't associated with the airplane being off right now. ACARS fuel, we're good to go. Alright, I think we are ready for pushback. So, today is an odd day, so we'll go to A, we'll go to beacon on, and we'll call for pushback, and we'll go nose left. And we'll go ahead and start the APU too.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
We want to stay off the APU as long as possible. It's not super hot here in Quito.
Departure checks complete.
APU's coming up to speed nicely. Hooking up the tub. Hear the APU running. Looks like it's stable and it's available. We'll turn on the bleed, turn off the external. We will disconnect that. Our parking brakes are set, so we will remove the chocks. Nope. What you waiting for? Nose left. All right. Hydraulic pumps on. Takeoff. Parking brakes released. And here we go. Hydraulic pump 1 is on. Door alert's been checked. Beacon nav lights are on. Cabin rate report received. And we're on engine ignition A. Very good. Let's start up number 3. We've got N2. got oil pressure. We want to get at least 20% N2 and max motoring if we can get it. And max motoring will be above N2. Nice strong APU. Alright, fuel on. We have fuel flow. We have light off. Here it comes. And we've got N1. Watching N2 for a hung start. Watching EGT for a hot start. Starter cutoff. 45% N2. Brakes are set. Pressure's normal. Good start. Let's start number 1. We've got N2 rotation. We've got some oil pressure rise. Again, looking for that max motoring. At least 20%. We've reached our minimum. Just looking for that to level off. A couple of seconds without an increase. Is max motoring. Alright. Fuel's on. We've got fuel flow. Got EGT. Watching N2 for that hung start. EGT for the hot start. Starter cutout at 45% N2. We got the wave off. You got the pin. So we are good to go. Flash the taxi light at her. Looks good. Start number 2. Got N2 rotation. We've got oil pressure coming up. We've hit 20%. And max motoring, we'll call it. Fuel's on. We've got fuel flow. We've got EGT. Again, watching EGT for the hot start, N2 for the hung start. At 45% N2, the starter will cut out down here. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Click, there it goes. And on these CF6s, 2468 is a good rule of thumb. 2 meaning about 20-something% N1. 4 should be or EGT should be right around 400 degrees. 6 N2 speed, and 8 the engine ate the oil. So we started at 22 quarts. We're down to 15 quarts. So we are good. We can shut off the APU. You do that down here by turning off the APU bleed. If you start the APU with the APU panel up here, then you have to shut it off, shut it down up here. But since I started it down here, Shutting off the APU bleed will then start the shutdown sequence for there. We've got RTO set there. We'll go ahead and arm the speed brakes. We'll bring our flaps. Here come the slats. Flaps to 15. Hey, pushed us into the grass. All right. Good to know. Oh, there's a building over there, too. Yeah, something's funky with this scenery. This could be an interesting departure. Okay. Anyway, flaps are set, and we are ready to taxi. We've got nobody online, thank goodness, since we're at the wrong airport. APU is off. Run through the systems real quick. Hydraulics, all look good. Pumps are running. Electrical system, generators are running. Air, we've got good bleed pressure across. Cabin set to the proper altitude. And fuel is how we want it. Let's get out of here. Doesn't like us taxiing in the grass. I don't blame it. Yeah, our takeoff N1 will be 111.8%, so we're going to be right up against Toga. Before takeoff check, glare seal control panels checked and set. We got prof armed. We're going to be in pitch mode. 159 is armed. We're in takeoff. And we're going to be going into heading mode at 400 feet. And then we'll make that right turn to head us towards the first waypoint. Anti-ice is off. Stab trim. We want 4.6. So we'll look over here. I'll let a 4.6 nose up. There we are. Spoilers armed. Brakes are set to RTO. Flaps and slats. 15 indicating here. 15 indicating on the panel. 15 indicating on our McDo. So flaps are set. Takeoff data and bugs. 141, 154, 159. 239 is our min clean speed. And we got 250 set in the window. So we're all set there. EAD alerts are checked. Green box. And we will do our lights and everything else once we are into position on the runway. Alright, so again, we've done our takeoff brief. We'll be departing this runway 36, which apparently is at the old Quito airport. Or maybe this is the new one. I don't know. I got to research that. I've like I said before, I've been in and out of Quito a number of times, and I never noticed it not sort of matching up. There is no other aircraft in the area. We'll slow down for the turn here. This could be the shortest stream I've ever done. You want to oversteer a lot in this airplane. That nose wheel is way behind you. I want to get make as tight a turn as possible. Didn't quite stop. You do not want to stop while you're in a turn in this airplane. Yep, brakes are armed. Nice, slow turn. I'm going to be a little left to center line, I feel like, but that's okay. Okay, lights. Camera. Action. The clock starts automatically as they're playing. Alright, you ready? Let's go flying. I'm gonna hold the brakes. Arm the auto throttles. Here we go. On the throttles. Took it over. 112.4. We are at Toga. Airspeed's alive. There's 80 knots. There's a building on the runway. Boy, the end of the runway's coming up fast. There's V1. Rotate. Boy, this plane rotates just beautifully. There we go. Nothing to it but to do it. Positive rate. Gear up. Holding that V2 plus 10. We're going to go into heading mode. To avoid these hills, right turn 040. Making it up as I go here. Still hand flying. Alright, we're going to start accelerating. We've hit our flapper track speed. Flaps up. Keep the climb going. See, the rate of climb is just outstanding. We're not particularly heavy today. We're quite a ways under gross for the short flight over to Guayaquil. Let's go direct. QM023. Not sure why it's not there. QM023. Nav. Auto flight. Yeah, it sort of butchered our departure here, probably because of the bad airport. So, ILPEX. Goes here. ILPEX. Then mid-X. Alright, there we go. our whole flight plan got deleted. Alright, this is really strange. I don't know what happened. 57:15. There we go. I was wondering why we weren't accelerating. Alright, go to standard. Obviously, if we had those indications prior to takeoff in the real world, we would not have. We would have gotten maintenance involved and tried to figure out exactly what is going on. We're not quite at slapper track speed yet. But we're back on our flight plan route. Coming up on Ilpex, then we'll make the left turn.
Stabilize.
It's a pretty airplane, isn't it, folks? Really is. I love flying this airplane. All right. Let's look at our Prague page. 190 miles to go. Bring our slats in. Slat 0. Back in the cargo bay. Had a little turbulence. Making our way to mid-X. We'll be leveling off at 2.4 here in just a bit. Continuing our acceleration to our climb speed of about 310 knots. And now the slats are retracted. After takeoff climb, spoilers are disarmed. Right? They are not. Spoilers disarmed. Gears up, no lights. Auto brake selector is off. No smoking sign is as required. Landing lights off. Flap slats up and retracted. EAD. No alerts. And we are through 18,000 feet, so all of our wing, runway, turnoff lights are off. Our dial flap is at 15, should be at 15, which is what I have it set to. And departure report not needed. After takeoff, climb checklist is complete. Cruise checklist is next. Yeehaw. It's always interesting, isn't it? So, again, if you get a map discrepancy like that, meaning what's showing on your nav display is not where you expect to be, obviously you would want to sort that all out before we go. In the sim, we roll the dice. Let's get the flight in. Yeah, so, and we're going to have a very interesting approach, as they always are, into Guayaquil. Let's look at the charts here. SEGU. Okay, we are on the Star 1 arrival. So we can look at that. The Star 1 arrival off of Vulky. coming in here off of Vulky, it basically just takes us down to PAL and takes us right to the PAL MDB 365. So let's make sure we've got that dialed in. I thought we had an MDB, an ADF on this airplane. Guess we don't. Alright, so we'll do it via RNAV. And then, the approach will be the ILS X-ray to runway 21. So off of Palma, we just fly directly to the approach. Very, very simple, but very hilly. And down the river, it's a cool approach. All right, so the airport is at sea level. Our barrel mins will be 300 feet, so we can set that. Making me crazy. I swear we had an ADF on this last time I checked. Because we even have the... Oh, you know what? Ugh, jeez. Sorry. I'm sure those of you that are reading this probably are going, no, goofball. You tune your nav radios here. Sorry, it's been a while since I've flown the MD. Alright, what was PAL again? PAL is 365. Man. There we go. Okay, so now we can set. Actually, let's set it in number 2. Let's clear number 1. Let's set number 2 up, see if we get it. Looks like we're already picking it up. Yep. PAL, and it's pointing in the right direction. We've got a short cruise here. We'll go ahead and turn off the seatbelt sign just out of habit. And the cruise checklist is any delay codes or any communications to the company not needed. And prior to our descent, which is not far. Our top of descent is here just past SEGU. And our descent we need to cross Vulky at or above 3,000 feet. And then with permission at this point we can descend to 2,000 feet, and we want Palma at or above 2,000 with that permission, or at or above 3. I'm gonna give us permission. How's that sound? ILS X-ray 21. Besides at Palma, we want to be at 2,000. Otherwise, we have to descend to 2,000 between Palma and Eureka, which is only a couple miles. Approach speed, let's see, our runway length, SEGU, runway 21, get weather, there we are, landing weight, let's call it 436. Auto brake low, flaps 35. Oh, it's because it wants full weight. There we go. So we can do a flaps 35 landing. we need about 5,300 feet, and we've got 7,700 feet, 7,500 feet to be conservative about it. Auto brake low, all reversers, so we'll come back here. I'll set the auto brake to min. And our descent will be right to 2,000 feet. Start that descent here in just a couple minutes. Quick flight. So for mid-X, so it's Vulky, and then Palma, Vulky, ILS X-ray 21, star 1, insert. There we go. Vulky, PAL. Vulky, PAL, Aurora. And then the missed approach point. There we are. Alright. We are picking up the NDB, so that's good. It should auto-tune the ILS, which is 110.3. It should do it when we get a little closer, I guess. Pre-select descent, 310 knots, our current Mach, or 310 knots, that works fine. I'm not going to worry about the descent forecast right now, because we got to start thinking about our descent. So our descent checklist says FMS McDo set for descent and arrival. We confirmed the arrival points are in, the ILS points are in, shoulder harnesses are on, air panel is as required, pressurization. It's set. Landing altitude is set correctly, so we're good to go. Anti-ice is off. Landing data is prepared. Transition level is 3,000 feet. We have no traffic. I'm looking at VATSIM radar. One cool thing about VATSIM radar you can do is that you can click on your arrival airport or click on it here in the map, although sometimes it's hard to click on the map if there's airplanes around it, so I've gotten the habit of just clicking it up here. And there's only one aircraft arriving. That's us in about 16 minutes. So we're passing, coming up on SEGU. We'll begin our descent. Vulky at or above 3,000. Let's make sure that's in the box. Vulky, yep. At or above 3,000. Excellent. So the MD-11, again, TFDI MD-11, fantastic airplane. It did have its issues when it was released. There's no doubt about it. A lot of folks were not very happy with the condition it was in upon release, and they still have several things to do to sort of bring it to what was promised. The Pratt & Whitney engine variant needs to be released, and also the extended simulation package, I think is what they're calling it, which will include failures and more in-depth systems. The systems are good. Several aspects of the systems are modeled and seem to be modeled correctly according to the documentation I have, but it could be a lot better. And none of the circuit breakers are modeled, which is what will be modeled in the enhanced package. There are really no malfunctions simulated, and I know a lot of people love that, and I do too on occasion. But I'm more traditionally more interested in realism as far as system actions go. Right, my baseline for testing an aircraft is, can I follow the real-world FCOMs, real-world QRH, if there are malfunctions, and get the results that I would expect in the real aircraft. And if I can do that, I'm relatively happy. And frankly, it doesn't require a lot of sophistication on a point A to point B flight for that to be possible, right? There's lots of aircraft that are not necessarily considered, I don't use the term study level, don't like study level. There is no desktop simulator that is a true, what I would call, study level simulator, meaning basically you could earn a type rating, because there are always compromises made. Now, that is not to say you could not use a desktop simulator, particularly the Phoenix, or any of the PMDG aircraft, or Just Flight aircraft, to, if you were a real-world pilot, to use for enhancing training. I know lots of real-world pilots that do. Several stream, and they use it to prep for their proficiency checks. I know some in real life that have used Phoenix. A good friend of mine is an Airbus captain on American, and as he was transitioning to the Airbus, he hadn't flown it as a first officer, so he used the Phoenix software to at least get him familiarity with the panels, with flows, things like that. So you don't have to be super high fidelity to provide a satisfying real-world experience. And people get so hung up in our community about study level. I prefer the term high fidelity, and I believe this aircraft is not quite high fidelity yet. With the systems enhancements, I think it will be. And again, that is not meant as a criticism, because I love flying this aircraft. I know a lot of people that do, and I can follow FCOMs. I use a couple of carriers FCOMs from major airlines here in the U.S. that either currently fly them or used to fly them. And that sort of gives it away, because there's only one major carrier. It's a cargo carrier in the U.S. Or there's two that currently fly the MD-11 still. And I was fortunate enough to get access to some of their documents. But you can follow them. You can follow the procedures. The McDo in particular has come a long way. It does. There's our descent. It does step climbs. Here we go. It does step climbs much better. It used to be much more cantankerous, shall we call it? But it works much better now. Want some drag? Let's put out a little drag. Let's make it happy. Put out this third of the speed brakes. And some of the flight planning was a little goofy on it, but that is much better. The courses it draws out. The biggest problem with the MD-11 is that it's fast. So sometimes if you ask it to draw a course and it gives you a curlicue in a weird direction, it's because it can't make the turn, and so you need to bring your speed back. So you need to tell it, I'm only going to be at 200 knots. Because when you're heavy in this airplane, your minimum clean speed can be 260 plus knots. Approach speeds are regularly in the 160s. It's got the highest approach speeds of any civilian aircraft currently. I don't even think Concorde's approach speeds were higher. So it requires some care and it requires some planning. And if you've been apprehensive about flying this airplane because of something you've heard or something tell you what, watch my video. I'll do more in the future. Watch who else is featured in. Well, a good one to watch, and I've mentioned him before on his MD-80 series is Mustafa. He also did a fantastic tutorial. Wouldn't call it a master class per se, because it's not as in depth, but it's outstanding video on how to fly the MD-11. So anyway, there are options out there and for you to learn, and the TFDI Discord channel has a lot of very knowledgeable people. I know I've corresponded a lot in the past with a particular user on there who I'm on a couple of other Discords with, who has just a huge amount of information about the MD-11. So there's plenty of resources out there to help you learn to fly it. Fortunately, the MD-11's avionics are fairly advanced. If you've ever flown the Boeing 717 that was also produced by TFDI, I know it was for prepared maybe, but anyway, it's a very similar avionics suite to what is found in that aircraft, and it was advanced for its time. People forget this airplane is actually newer than the Airbus A320. Okay, heading towards Vulky. Again, we're going to cross Vulky at 3,000, or above 3,000, to hit the Palma. At right around 2,000. All right, there's Vulky. I'm going to go ahead and hard tune the localizer in 110.3 213. There we go. It's not picking it up yet, which I wouldn't expect it to. It wants more drag. Starting to slow us down. It is commanding 245 knots. Let's look at the 235 at Vulky. Is that part of the star? notes on the approach about it. I don't mind. It's such a short distance. I'm not worried about it. Star 1 arrival. Yeah, nothing about 235. I wonder why I did that. Well, anyway, we'll take it. Our minimum clean speed is 208, so we're in good shape to stay clean. And we've got a VAP of 158 knots today at our flaps 35. So the other thing that the MD-11 is known for, if you don't know already, is its landing characteristics. The aircraft did have a number of landing accidents, some pretty well-known ones. And it is known to do a little skip and a hop from time to time. If you hear people talk about it who fly it online, a lot of high landing rates, right? I'm pretty happy with a 300 foot per minute, 250 to 300 foot per minute landing in this airplane. So it especially at flaps 50, right? You only want to use flaps 50 if you have to. Some people say flaps 50 was only used out of absolute necessity, although I've seen some videos online where flaps 50 was used. There's a lot of great cockpit videos out there on the MD-11 where they were using flaps 50 and on not particularly short runways, and after long flights, which would lead me to believe they weren't particularly heavy. So I guess it depended on the operator. But I have found that it is preferable to use flaps 35 as much as possible, and then if you really need to slow down and need all that extra drag, you go flaps 50, because that is a lot of drag. And you also, with this airplane, you want to leave power in during the flare, and you're not reducing it until you're kind of established in the flare and you've got your nose attitude. And as you're touching down, you should just about run out of throttle when you touch down. But if you do the old, like you can in an Airbus or a 737, where at 30 feet or so you just bring the throttles back to idle, not going to work in this plane. The plane will stop flying, and it will stop flying in a hurry. So we want to keep that in mind. Luckily, we're landing at sea level, so we don't have to worry about much as far as high altitude goes, like a lot of South American airports. But if you're landing at like Quito at 8,000 feet above sea level, your true airspeed can be, 15% higher, 20% higher than what's indicated. So you are trucking. When you're at 160 knots, that extra 15%, right? It's like an extra 25 knots. So you're not doing 160, you're doing 185 along the ground. You also have to keep that in mind for tire limitations. So, ADF is working great. I don't see... We're not picking up the localizer quite yet. Coming up on 5 for 3. There we go. Now we're picking it up. 18.5 miles out. Guayaquil traffic, Martinair 5715. We are about 20 miles northeast inbound from the ILS-21. No traffic, but might as well make the call. Alright, out of 4,500 for 3. Looks like we're going to hit 3 right around Palma. Thank you. Not Palermo. That would be in Sicily. Okay. Get our lights on. The ice bugs are set. Seatbelt, no smoke. Seatbelt signs on. Lights are on. We made the turn towards Palma. EAD alerts are checked. Let's bring out the slats and start slowing. Slats are out. Flat 15. Bring the speed brake in. Arm the speed brake. Well, not quite yet. Won't arm it quite yet. Alright, we're at flat 15. Seatbelts on EAD. Descent and before landing checklist is complete. Quick look at the status page.
Altitude.
We're good. 1,000 to go. Don't get too slow. Auto throttles. It's one thing I've noticed with the recent update. Yeah, auto throttles are a little slow to respond. See how it undershot our speed of 180 knots? Let's command 180. $158. Alright, we're starting our turn. Let's not let the glide slope get away from us. There's the river. Let's activate landing armed. Let's bring it back. You're down.
2,500.
Loc is armed. Glide slope is armed. Commanded. Flaps 28. Speed checks. Flaps 28. Flaps 35.
Stabilize your motion.
On glide slope. Set missed approach altitude. 3,000 feet. Set. A little slow. Coming off autopilot.
Autopilot. Stabilize your motion.
We're off auto thrust. Alright, we're hand flying. Keep it on the crossbars. Follow the flight director. Keep an eye on the speed. You don't want to get slow in this airplane. Guayaquil traffic, Martinair 5715. About a 3-mile final. 2-1. You don't want to get high. It's really important to stay on this airplane. See how I'm getting a little fast? Fast is slightly better, but not great. Slow can get you in a lot more trouble. Sorry about that, folks. My phone, not the autopilot disconnect. Alright, nose up.
Flight slow. Flight slow.
Don't get slow.
Flight
Power.
slow.
There we go.
Flight slow.
500.
Slow that rate of descent.
Flight
Flight slope
slow.
check. There we go. Now we're coming back. Now we're back again. Transitioning to visual. We're red over white.
Approaching minimum. 300. Minimum.
You can develop a sync rate in this airplane really quickly. wind from the right, a little bit of crab.
Wide slope.
50,
Wide slope.
Start braking the descent.
Wide slope.
20, 10.
Now the power comes out, and we touch down. See what I mean? It is hard to arrest the descent. Nose wheels down, reversers are unlocked, and green. Knots. Out of reversers. Manual braking. Welcome to Guayaquil. We made it. Now I just gotta figure out where we're parking. Turning the lights off. As soon as we're clear and on this parallel taxiway, we will start cleaning the airplane up. But other than that, there is no rush. You also have to be very careful in this airplane with your nose wheel steering. It will scrub the nose wheel really quickly, so you want to ease into your turns. You can't just go to full nose deflection. I did that just a second ago, and the nose wheel started to scrub. So I tapped the brakes a little bit and reduced the nose wheel steering angle and brought it back into control. All right, flaps are up. That's all. Speed brakes are disarmed. Auto brake is off. Whoop. This is why you have two people in the cockpit. All right, after landing, reverse indications are extinguished. Landing lights are off. High intensity lights are off. Brake pressure's good. Flats and slaps are up and retracted. Spoiler handers down. Stabilizer trim set back to 3 degrees. Or 3 units. That's over here. 3 units. Transponder, we can go to standby. And we'll make our way up to the cargo ramp, which will be just short of the domestic terminal. Let's see if GSX has them. Cargo ramp. Yeah, alright. Let's go to spot 11. It's kind of in the middle. Nope. Swissport. How about that? We'll also go ahead and turn on the APU. Get that going. APU's coming up to speed. Over here, it's on our engine display. Here's the cargo ramp up here to the left. Thanks for coming along with me today here to Guayaquil. It was an interesting departure. That is for sure. I'll have to research that and figure out why it was in the wrong place. By the way, folks, we managed to pull a 131 foot per minute landing out of that. Not sure how I did that. That's some MD butter. No doubt about it. Alright, looks like our APU is up. It is available. We'll bring that up. And here's spot 11. I'm going to go ahead and shut down number 2. And he's waiting for us. Again, oversteer. Slow it down. Bring a little power up on the outside engine. Fill the taxi light, which I have all my lights bound to buttons on my Lincoln Bravo. Keep it rolling through the turn. Try not to cheat by going to an outside view. And I'm going to be a little left of center line again. I didn't oversteer enough. I'll lose sight of my Marshall here in just a second, so I'm going to have to look at the numbers. Boop. There. Little askew. We've got power to the airplane. Go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off. I'll shut down the other 2 engines. Alright, when N1 gets below about 10% on both of them, we'll go ahead and kill the beacon. Beacon's off, and we'll let GSX know we're ready to deboard. Here they come. Shutdown checklist. We shut down number 2. Got the APU on. Parking checklist. Brakes are parked. Electrical power is established. Seatbelt sign is off. Fuel switches are off. APU air is on. Cargo temp. Turn all that off. Anti-ice is off. Beacon nav lights are off. Emergency light switch is off. Status page we can check. FMS IRSs, we'll leave them on for now. Here it wants me to check. That's fine. Miscellaneous. And the cargo doors are open. Status page. Everything that's on is associated with airplane being shut down. FMS and the number 3 McDo, we don't need. Second flight plan. We're clear. Arrival codes, oil check, complete. After landing, parking checklist is complete. Well, there we have it, folks. The beautiful Martinair Cargo livery in the MD-11, made published by TFDI. I did pay for this aircraft, and I'm very happy I did. I do recommend it. At first, I was wondering if I made a mistake, but they have just done such great work in bringing it and be actively updating it, and I mean I can't wait for the next big update, which will include the Pratt & Whitney's, as well as the extended simulation package, which will introduce malfunctions and into the aircraft and some more systems depth. So from Guayaquil, Ecuador, this is CJ, your classic jet sim pilot, bidding you a great day. Hope to see you again real soon. Keep the shiny side up, folks. We'll see you next time.